Ridiculous. And then the other side, you have Bryce Young, who's just been pretty consistently awesome all year. He's been, even when Bama's looked shaky, like today, Bryce Young has looked awesome. 559 yards, 5 touchdowns in an SEC game. That's where the offense is going. Crazy. He's been awesome. So with Kenneth Walker's non-existent day, I think he only had like 25 yards. I do think it's down to these two. And then the playoff for Alabama, I mean, it's easy. Beat Georgia. You're in. Not to win a title, you got to beat Georgia again, but cross that bridge when you get there, because then you're going to have to beat like Oregon or Cincy or maybe Ohio State. You're going to have to beat somebody. So cross that bridge when you get there. But right now, you beat Georgia, you're in. You don't beat Georgia, you're not making the playoff. I don't see it. I don't see the committee putting a 2-loss non-conference champion in the playoff over some of the options we have. Ooh, he did score a touchdown today. Yeah, Jordan Davis is definitely up there. I was in Knoxville last week for that Georgia-Tennessee game. You don't get a gauge on TV how dominating that man is up front. It impacts your whole offense when your center and your 2 guards are getting caved in by one massive human being that's also extremely athletic. I just can't see them giving it to a defensive lineman who doesn't have the stats. Even though if you look at Georgia's rushing against with him off the field and him on the field, but he doesn't have the sacks or the tackles for loss. But no, he very easily could be the best player in the country this year. I don't know. If you look at the standings, and I was telling this earlier because I did this earlier today. I was talking to a friend. Let's say Bama gets in loses 30-24. Okay, they have 2 losses. You have undefeated Georgia. They're going in. Ohio State will beat Michigan and Wisconsin. They'll get in. Cincinnati will be undefeated, so they'll get in. And then for that 4th spot, you're going to have Oklahoma State, who never beats, or Oklahoma. There's two outcomes in Bedlam. OU by a lot, OU by a little. So they're out. And then who's right there at 11-1? The good old Notre Dame Fighting Irish, baby. And I went, oh no, here we go again. So look out for that. And then it could come down to a 2-loss Notre Dame and a 2-loss Alabama and a 1-loss Notre Dame. I know who I think's the better team, but we'll see what the committee does. But watch out for that. I'm telling you now, right here, voice of college football, Alabama, voice of college football, SEC. Look out for those stupid Fighting Irish. I got to imagine they will, just because they're playing a backup quarterback. And I don't think anybody all year has gone, ooh, Auburn. Like, they've won some games, and Brian Harsin's done a good job this year. I don't think any of us can deny that. But, yeah, I don't think there'll be an issue. I agree with you, but who's team 4? Of 2-loss Alabama? I don't know if the committee's putting a 2-loss team in. Especially if Alabama had killed LSU, killed Arkansas, killed Florida, then I would agree. I could see him doing it. But they didn't. They killed Mississippi State. Look out, man. That comes down to it, too. Sometimes players got to make some plays. Will Anderson's a beast. They've had some good quality play from a lot of guys, but sometimes players got to make plays. And we talked earlier about Pete Golding's record defensively. Last year, I know they gave up the 48 points to Ole Miss. It got better as the year went on. It got a lot better until they faced Florida and Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, Tony, all in the NFL. They played with their food against Notre Dame. They could have shut that team out if they really, really tried. And then Ohio State look at their receiving. They had this receiving core last year. minus, I think, number 11. I can't remember his name. And they put up some points. So, but Pete Golding did a pretty good job last year in the second half of the season. So we'll see. I just don't think Nick's going to fire coaches this year. I'm looking for Auburn. I disagree. I think they'll beat Auburn, no problem. Okay, I can't say no problem because they're having problems with everybody. I think they beat Auburn. I don't think they win the national title this year, but that's okay. They're going to be right back in it next year. One of my Pete Golding buddy. Come on. I really rushed making these. You can tell I wanted to go live for all you fine folks. One of mine as I was making these, Pete Golding. Come on. Kind of that Canadian buddy. Come on. Like I was straight out of Letterkenny. But give your thoughts and reactions to this game. You know, what impressed you about Arkansas? What impressed you about Alabama? I think the obvious is Bryce Young, John Mechie, Jameson Williams. KJ Jefferson looked really good. Treylon Burks, that catch he made. I know the Alabama fans really wanted PI. But I have a rule that if it's really cool, there's no flag. And that looked really cool. So no flag on the play there for me. And he ran it down the sideline. Arkansas is on the way up. There's just not a lot to say, really, bad against Arkansas today, which is weird. It can be hard to accept, but I mean, 2019, they didn't have it. I went to the final game. When was the last time, besides 2019, where it was just kind of clear that this team wasn't a national title contender? 2010? Good Lord. It's been a while. They lost to South Carolina, and that team was maybe the most talented team. That team. I don't know how old some of you are, but that team was – I'm 25, and I was 14. I remember, getting Julio and Ingram and Greg McElroy is back. You had insane talent on defense. I don't know how that team lost 3 games. I have no clue how that team lost 3 games. But, yeah, it's the first time from there since this early in the year we're kind of just like, we don't have it this year. Now they can still get in the playoff. Because they're the 1 seed in 2014. They got blown out by Clemson, and they just lost to Clemson. Yeah, it's been a while, so it is kind of hard to accept, but life will go on. And we'll have a great basketball team, and the hype will begin soon, very soon. Don't you all worry. What would help the 2 lost Bama Claws is if Utah keeps doing what they're doing right now, and that's running all over Oregon. By the way, a fraudulent number 3. I know they beat Ohio State, and I respect the committee for wanting to keep head-to-head, making it matter. This Oregon team, because it's a 3-point spread, would be a pick-em against number 23 Utah in a neutral site. Oklahoma would have been, I think they were 19.5 today, so 16.5 on a neutral site over the number 7 team in the country. So whatever. Anyway, so if you think Alabama's not going to beat Georgia and still want them to make the playoff, you're definitely rooting for Utah right now. See some new folks hopping in, hopping out. Leave your comments, questions, thoughts about this game. We're going to go for about 25 more minutes. It was LSU. I think in overtime that year. Spirit did have a good team. It's just, that team, it looked at a lot of positions, and that Alabama team was crazy. They were young on defense, if I remember. Really young on defense. And then, of course, they dominated 2011, 2012. So, makes sense. It's just weird seeing a team with Julio, Ingram, who have all had very good careers, lose 3 games. That's all. Thanks, man. Yeah, you can troll. That's fine. What are we not here for if we can't do a little trolling? I I was uh I was at Knoxville last week for the game just because my friends and I wanted to go see Nealand. And I still look young enough that I could look like a college student. And my friends and I had some fun. Um, and we were like clapping out Tennessee fans, like, "We'll see you at the 50 when we win." And then, obviously the first quarter, we were like, "Oh, is this going to be a game?" And then obviously not.